"This delivery," I said, trying to hold my feet stable on the uneven ground, "would have been a great use for the hovercycle." "Yes, it would," Blip agreed. She pushed the hover sled along with me, having just as much trouble with the crisscrossing tree roots that made up what passed for a road here. Her clothes for today were the type that fit closely and displayed muscle, leaving her natural frills as the only things waving in the breeze. Or maybe they were waving with frustration. Normally she and Blob would have done a delivery together, but he'd sprained his shoulder trying one of Wio's impossible puzzle boxes. He knew full well those were meant for people with tentacles instead of arms. Now he was recuperating on the ship, while we pushed a sled full of packages over some very treacherous footing. No, I wasn't bitter about that. "Have we tried hooking the bike up to a sled before?" I asked, stepping over a python-sized root and walking down one the size of a playground slide. I know it would take some quick work on the brakes to keep it from crashing into anything, and you need somebody to ride along and steer, but it seems doable. Paint piped up from where she was riding on the front of the sled. "Ow! Like when we did that one rush delivery with you running and pulling it?" I chuckled, slipping just a little. "Yep, like when I was a sled dog, but with less of a risk of spraining an ankle." Blip said, "Pretty sure Captain Sunlight declared it too risky for regular deliveries. The hovercycles are small packages, not whole piles." Paint clambered over the stack to look down at us. Her orange scowls were bright in this foresty dimness. "But it's all tied down so well." I craned my neck up. "Are those rated for sitting on?"
Probably not."
She climbed back to the front where the brakes were. She was a little small to be of any help in pushing, but she made a good lookout. Like now.
"Hey, what's that?"
I peered around the side of the package stack, but didn't see anything, other than giant trees and a ground covered in roots. Plus the occasional white marker attached to the trunks so off-world courier crews didn't get desperately lost. It was all very shadowy and green. "Where?"
"There's misty-looking stuff in the distance," Payne reported. "Steam? Fog? Poison gas?"
Blip groaned.
"I hope not."
I thought back to the briefing for this location. There wasn't anything hazardous in the report, no predators of note either.
"Good," Blip said,
as the mist grew thick enough to spot in the shadows.
"That means probably nothing will jump out at us when the visibility's egg dark."
"Probably," I agreed. "Are we still going to be able to see the pathway?" The white marker stickers were kind of far apart. I didn't like our odds if we missed one.
"So far,"
Payne said from the front of the sled. We pushed on. The fog thickened faster than I expected, and I found myself struggling to make out the root shapes before I needed to step on or over them. "Paint, are we going the right way?"
"I think so,"
she said, a faint distressed blur in the darkness.
"I don't suppose either of you brought a light?"
"No," I sighed. "Just my communicator, which isn't going to do us much good."
"I've got one," Blip said,
tugging at a pocket that I hadn't realized was there.
"It's the kind that doesn't make your eyes adjust, too."
With a quiet click, suddenly everything was vivid red.
"Ow,"
I said on reflex.
"Perfect,"
Paint exclaimed, setting the brakes and climbing over the boxes again. Her scales were as red as the boxes, though Blip looked black like the roots underfoot. While they handed the light off, I checked my own hand out of curiosity. Red too, though not as bright as Paint.
"Twist it to adjust the focus," Blip called.
We were in shadow again, now that the light was on the other side of the stack.
"Got it,"
Paint said. She fiddled with it for a moment, then sent a beam of red lancing into the mist with much less scattering in all directions.
"That way. A little more to the left."
Blip and I resumed pushing. We had to rely on Paint completely, but it worked. She sounded delighted.
"We'll be there in no time. Onward!"
It was then that I realized what all of this reminded me of, and I nearly fell over laughing. They, of course, demanded to know what was so funny. "Another legend from my planet," I said, wiping away tears. "Paint, I got to be Blatto last time. You get to be the hero today." And then I sang Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for my alien co-workers, and they were honored to be part of it.